I want to take just one video and quickly explain the gross debt service ratio and the debt to equity ratio. They're two different ways of looking at our debt, and they're helpful. The formulas on this are on your formula sheet for the provincial math exam, so it's important that we explain it. So the gross debt service ratio is a tool used by lending institutions to determine if you can afford to buy the house that you want to buy. So banks have determined that you can only spend 32% of your income on a house. So that means we're going to take the formula and see what all of the housing costs divided by the gross monthly income and multiply it by 100 to get a percent. Oh yes, this ratio gives us a percent. You don't have to multiply by the 100 if you can read a percent off of decimal, which you guys can. Let's just quickly do this example here. So Mr. Red wants to buy a house for $170,000. He has saved $10,000 for a down payment. The bank is offering a 4.5% closed mortgage for 25 years. Embedded in that information that it is monthly, paid monthly, and compounded monthly. Mr. Red has an income of $4,500 per month. Now that is not necessarily what he takes home specifically, but it is what he earns. Remember, we have gross and we have net. Net is what we actually take home in our pockets, whereas gross is what our salary or our hourly wage gives us. Property taxes are $2,100 per year, heating costs are $125 per month, and the monthly mortgage payment is $889.33. Will Mr. Red be approved? So what we need to do is we need to look at our formula here. We say monthly payment, okay, that's monthly mortgage payment, plus monthly property tax, plus monthly heating, divided by gross monthly income, multiply it by 100. Now there is just a little bit of a glaring like, oh, got to do some work, because we're noticing that we're seeing that the property taxes are given by year. In general, that's what they are given. So what we need to do is we need to figure out what the monthly portion of that property tax is. What do we need to divide by, folks? You got it, 12. So for property taxes, monthly, we take the 2,100 or 2,100 and we divide it by 12, and we get 175 per month on property taxes. Now what we can do is we can plunk all of this information into this formula, which will be given to you on the formula sheet, like I said before. So the monthly mortgage payment, so the GDSR equals the monthly mortgage payment, $889.33, plus monthly property taxes, which are, we figured out, $175 per month, plus the heating cost per month, $125, that's housing heating costs, divided by the gross monthly income, which is $4,500. And we want to multiply that by 100, so we don't even have to think about converting it into a percent. When I add my numerator, I get 1,189.33 all over 4,500 multiplied by 100. And we get 26.43%. Now here's the thing, it's under 32%. So, yes, Mr. Red will be approved. If it's greater than 32%, that means that the housing costs are more than what the banks have allotted as appropriate housing costs, again, which is 32%. So if you spend more than 32% on housing costs, that is too much. So this is just for whether or not you can afford a house, but what about your debt equity ratio? Now, the debt to equity ratio is a measure of your debt burden. It does not take into consideration your mortgage of your principal residence, so your home. You don't have to consider that one, but it's just all of your other loans. So we're talking about like credit cards and lines of credit or any other kind of personal loan that you have. Your debt burden is considered to be too high if your debt equity ratio is above 50%. Another important definition that we need to know here is your net worth. So that's the difference between your total assets and your total liabilities. The formula for calculating your debt equity ratio is this guy right here. So total liabilities, and you subtract your mortgage, so anything that you owe, subtract your mortgage, and you divide that by your net worth. Again, since we're multiplying it by 100, we're given, this gives us the debt equity ratio as a percent. Now this is going to be really easy to confuse with your gross debt service ratio, your GDSR, but this one, if it's above 50%, it's considered too much of a burden, whereas the other one, you can't afford your home if it's over 32%. So that's just an important thing to remember. So let's do an example here. Mr. Van Weck's assets are worth $650,000. The mortgage on his house is valued at $250,000, and he owes $130,000 in total on his credit lines and credit cards. Whew, that's a lot of debt. But let's calculate, first of all, Mr. Van Weck's net worth, so the difference between his liabilities and his assets. And then we want to calculate Mr. Van Weck's debt equity ratio. Based on your answer, do you think that the bank will lend him money? Explain. So let's figure this one out. So the net worth here, remember it's assets minus liabilities. So what he has minus what he owes. So what he has is assets valued at $650,000. So that could be a home. It could also be a yacht. It could be other investments, that sort of thing. Minus liabilities. So we have two liabilities here. His house mortgage is $250,000. Plus everything else that he owes on credit lines and credit cards, $130,000. Now, just to give you a heads up, net worth, that does include your mortgage. Okay, it's just the debt equity ratio that does not. But in order to calculate your net worth for your debt equity ratio, we will need to consider your mortgage in some ways. When we do this, the final answer here is $270,000. So that's his net worth. It's positive. That's good. He's worth more than he owes. Calculate Mr. Van Weck's debt equity ratio. Based on your answer, do you think the bank will lend him money? So the debt equity ratio is his total liabilities minus his mortgage divided by his net worth. So his total, like I'm going to overkill this a little bit. His total liabilities are his mortgage, $250,000, plus his lines of credit and credit cards, $130,000, minus his mortgage, $250,000. So essentially we didn't have to really add this, but I just wanted to show the whole spicy meatball of the work. Divided by his net worth, which is $270,000. And we're going to multiply this whole thing by 100 to get it as a percent. So when I do this, punch it in my calculator, I get 48.45%. So I mean, officially, it's under 50%. So yeah, the bank would potentially give him this loan because it is under 50%. However, well, let's put our realistic thinking caps on. Right here, 48.45%. That is so close to the 50% that if you were doing your own banking and kind of thinking about it, you might be like, oh, maybe I should hold off. Maybe I should save a little bit of money and then use that to pay for it. So yes, I mean officially it is under 50%. So yes's gross debt equity ratio is considered acceptable. However, it's very close. Okay. And so if we were in real life here, we would seriously consider whether or not we would want to take out an additional loan